This is the Jerry Doyle Show.
Way back at the beginning of 2015, first day on the air, I deemed this the year of living selfishly. Because a lot of people are very generous with your money for a lot of different reasons. And in the year of living selfishly, you have to be concerned about you and yours, your present, and your future. That involves your health. That involves your finances. I don't see it getting better anytime sooner. I don't see them, the government, doing more with what they even have, much less. But that's what we're getting right now. A pay more, get less government. And they take more and give less from government. Social Security, it's going to be there for you. Well, they want to talk about raising the retirement age. They want to talk about means testing. Because they've so screwed the system up that you have to pay the price. One of the only ways I know around this, besides leaving the country, which isn't an option, is to build wealth. Yeah, it's costing more, and yeah, you're getting less. But if you have more, it's easier to absorb the financial body blows that Uncle Slam is throwing your way. Our show sponsor, Money Metals Exchange, can help you out here. A lot of good education material, in addition to a good company to do business with regard to precious metals, gold and silver. They have a silver starter kit they want to give you at their cost. 4 ounces, 9 coins, super low employee pricing. Money Metals is ranked number 1 out of 422 precious metal dealers. Not just because of the quality and the customer service, but because of the education materials they give you. Learn how to build wealth with precious metals over time. Go to moneymetals.com, enter my name, Jerry. That's Jerry with a J in the radio box at the top, moneymetals.com. Thomas Basili from Fordham University when we get back. Sean Dow, Campaign for Liberty later in the show. Quick break.
CEOs, feeling irritable, listless, anxious? Employees feeling sluggish or lacking commitment? You could be suffering from business low T or low technology, an affliction commonly associated with outdated, inefficient human capital management systems. Paycom uses unique technology to increase employee efficiency, reducing risk, all while eliminating the telltale symptom of low T, paying more every year for the same outdated software. With Paycom, your business T levels will skyrocket. Warning, use Paycom only as directed. Side effects include increased productivity, profits, and morale. Paycom has been known to cause regular heartbeats and nights filled with sleep. It's time you had an honest conversation with your HR staff about switching your old low-T system to Paycom. Text the word CLOUD, that's C-L-O-U-D, to 511-511 and receive a free guide. The top 7 tips to consider when switching HR and payroll companies. CLOUD to 511-511. Remember to text the word CLOUD to 511-511 and receive the top 7 tips. Paycom, raise the bar on HR.
Talk 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
AM 1470, WNN, with more of what you need to know. Don't miss Barry's Supplement Hour, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 11 a.m. and Tuesdays at noon on South Florida's Health and Wealth Network, AM 1470, WNN.
AM 1470 with even more information you can use. Are you suffering with chronic pain? Tune in for No Bones About It with Dr. Alvin Stein. You'll learn non-invasive techniques that can help you get rid of your pain without the use of harmful drugs or surgery. That's No Bones About It with Dr. Alvin Stein. Tuesday mornings at 11, right here on AM 1470 WNN, South Florida's Health and Wealth Network.
You can become independently healthy, and I'll tell you how. Dr. Bob Martin here. If you want to feel, function, and perform the very best you can, please tune in and call into my show Sunday mornings at 10 on Talk 1470 WNN.
What you want to know. What you need to know.
Talk 1470 WNN.
Cultural Interface with Ivan Moreno. Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Cultural Interface presents discussions about the ways in which culture creates and transforms individual experiences, everyday life, social relations, and power. The topics we'll address: new questions and problems of today's world. Cultural Interface with Ivan Moreno, founder of Zion International University.
Hello, Florida, and hello to all our listeners on internet. This is Ivan Moreno. Welcome to my show. This is my second show, Cultural Interface. And here we have Carla Dieseldorf. Carla, are you there?
Hi, good evening. How are you, Ivan? How's everybody doing?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be with you again this time. And I'm happy that we have all our listeners. And you can also listen to this show on wwnnradio.com. And you can also call toll free at 818 at 1-888-565-1470. You can log into wwnnradio.com. And remember that this show is every Thursday at 7 Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And Carla, do you remember last time we talked about the language of love?
Yes, and I have been waiting all week because you have something that you have to tell us that you have left us all week waiting for.
Yeah, last time we talked about eros, and we talked about philia, and we missed talking about agape love. Have you ever heard of agape love?
I have heard of agape love, but it is quite complex because it entails other types of feelings. So I would love for you to explain to me and to our listeners what that is.
Yeah, actually, this kind of love it's not very it's not very common for some people to. I mean, not too many people have heard of this kind of love, but this kind of love is very important, especially in relationships, like relationships with other people that are not those kind of relationships that you have with your partner, or like a love relationship. This kind of love is more it's more about compassion. And last time we were talking about Greek culture, that ancient Greek culture, and how they define different kinds of love, and how in English language we have one word for love, which is love, right? But sometimes we get mixed up when we try to express our feelings and emotions, and we don't know whether we are expressing a feeling of eros, which is the passion, which is that sexual thing, or if we want to express that emotion that is concerned with friendship, right? And we also talk about how relationships now they sometimes have to face conflicts because of the way that we don't really know how to express our feelings. And because eros is so temporary, when the eros is gone, you think you don't love that person anymore, right?
Right. It's correct, because you don't feel those physical reactions as strong as you felt them at the beginning. So you start questioning yourself if you still feel love, because you don't know what else to compare it to.
Yeah, and we were telling our audience that we should really learn how to distinguish every kind of love. Like, we should be able to read the signals when we have that eros love, which is that attraction, that passion, that you're always thinking about that person all the time, that you think that you cannot live with that person anymore, that you have to have that person, you're almost possessive, right?
Right. Yeah, it's like a fear of losing the person or doing something wrong in his eyes.
And some people think that if you don't have those kind of feelings, it means that you don't love that person, right?
Correct.
And actually, that's something that we really need to change in our perspective, that because those things are temporary, what is actually like going away are the symptoms of a physical reaction, of a biochemical reaction, actually. Remember last time we talked about how our body builds those like hormones that make us feel all those things?
Right, adrenaline and how it reacts to those sensations, right?
Yeah, and some people get addicted to those chemicals. And that's why when you have a relationship and those chemicals run out of your body, then you start like unconsciously looking for the same things in another person and then in another person. And that's how your life starts getting miserable, because you're looking for an illusion, which is an illusion, like something that people think is love, but it's not. I don't know if you have had that experience before, maybe when you were a teenager and you didn't know what was going on with your body.
Oh, you don't have to go that far as being a teenager. I mean, I've had those experiences in the last couple of years with relationships, and until I learned to understand myself and what was happening, and you said the truth. It's like an addiction. I mean, oh boy, what are we not addicted to nowadays? Now we're addicted to feeling those sensations of that we think it's love, but then it's just like an addiction.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I like to talk about these topics in this show, because these are the things that normally people don't know about, they are not taught about, and maybe you can find it in books, but sometimes people like when they are explaining things to them. That's why this show is so important, because you can talk about these things in a very simple way, not with too much jargon and too many like technical words, right?
Right. And you know what's really good, Ivan? That it happens to everyone. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter really how old you are, how intelligent, and love can affect everyone. And that insecurity and that lack of expression or that too much expression, it really happens. It doesn't see borders. It doesn't see changes in people. So it's great to be able to discuss this, because everybody can feel identified with it, no matter who you are.
Yeah, that's why we want to educate people to have a healthy life when it comes to love and relationships. That's why I really wanted to share with people about the eros love, which is temporary, is very physical, and it's gonna end, it's gonna go away. So don't get attached to those symptoms. Just try to build up a relationship based on friendship, because friendship lasts forever, or can last as long as you want it to last, right?
Right.
And
it's like a give and take. It's like more of it's a commitment of compromising for each other.
Yes, it is a commitment. And now that we have done this little synthesis of what we talked about last time, by the way, if you want to see the first show that we talked about this topic, you can log on and you can search the first show and you can see it. And also, if you want to email us, you can email us at culturalinterfaceradio@gmail.com. Okay, so let's go back to the subject of this show, which is agape love. I like agape love because that's the kind of love that we really need. That's the kind of love that really cares about the others, about the other people. When you feel compassion, when you feel, I don't know if you have heard, well, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but in Spanish, we have a saying that is something like, you have to be in somebody's shoes, or something like that. I don't know if you have that in English.
Well, if you would like to know what it feels like, step into my shoes. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, and how can you explain that? What is the real meaning of that?
What it really means is that sometimes we tend to judge people. We judge situations and especially people's reactions without really putting yourself in that person's, like I said, in that person's shoes, in that person's reality and what they're going through, what they're feeling. We tend to just react upon what they said, or oh, that bothered us, or oh, he's not giving me enough love, or he's not talking to me, or not kissing me, or not being, very attentive. But we don't really take the time to figure out, oh, maybe this person's not having a good day. Maybe this person, something wrong happened. How can I help, So we just judge most of the time without really going deeper.
And we like to blame other people about the things that happen to us, right?
Oh, yeah. Everybody has to be blamed.
And that's
most of the time
problem.
We can't accept our own fault.
And that's the problem. That's called victimization. To victimize other people. We think it's other people or other circumstances, the ones that caused our misfortunes or our troubles or our problems. And that's a big, big mistake. I don't know if you have ever sort of realized, or you have meditated, or you have actually had an inner thought about everything I've done so far is because I allowed it to happen, right? And I may have made wrong decisions or chosen wrong choices, just to be a little bit repetitive, but all your life you really need to realize that everything you do, or everything that you've done so far, or everything that you will do, it's all your own responsibility. You cannot make somebody else responsible what happens to you, especially when something bad happens to you. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
It's a chain reaction. It's a chain reaction of events. Sometimes we don't understand it, or we don't have the capacity to really meditate about all of it if it's something that's still affecting us. But everything that happens to us is a chain. It's an event of a chain reaction of something we've either said or done in the past.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the ghost or the mask?
No, except for the one that I fear of at night. No, what are you talking about?
There was a famous psychologist. I guess he was French. Well, at least his name sounds French. His name was Lacan. And he developed a very interesting theory. And actually, his theory really, his theory is very, very powerful. And a lot of academia uses it in their studies. It's very complicated, but I'm gonna explain it to you so you can get it, and you will see why this has to do with what we're talking about today, which is agape love. He says that unconsciously we are projecting our true self in other people. So other people are like mirrors to us. Isn't that interesting?
Yes. Explain more. Tell me more.
For example, let's suppose that because one thing is what you are when you are by yourself, and another thing is what you are when you are with people.
Correct.
So it's like everybody has like a double, because you don't want to show what you really are, otherwise you'll be very ashamed of yourself. So you always are hiding the true you. But even though you try to hide it, the shadow of the true you is gonna be projected in somebody else. So when you have a situation with somebody, when you have an argument or anything with somebody, it is actually having an argument with a part of you. But you don't realize that, because that happens unconsciously. So let's say that you're a person that is full of rage and you're very mad at stuff. You have a lot of stored emotions, and you have a lot of conflict with different people in your life, in your at your work, anywhere in the street. You go shopping and you start arguing with anybody, and you start like, why people are so mean to me? Like that happens all the time. So this psychologist says it is not the people. There's something inside you, a negative emotion stored inside you that is being reflected to these people, and you haven't realized that. And when you start working on your inner self, you won't have any conflicts anymore with other people.
I get it. So that's where the ghost comes in. That's the mask. What other people are seeing is that other self, that mirror self that we are interacting with that we're not really aware of, but it's there to others.
Yeah, so this psychologist, what he said or what he developed was, okay, so next time you have to really analyze when you have a conflict with a person or with a situation. You have to analyze what that person is mirroring back to you. So you have to start working something about your personality or something that you have stored, a negative emotion. But people will guide you if you look at them as mirrors. And that's not easy to do, because you will always think that the other person is the victimizer, right?
Right.
But tell me, I'm telling you, this is something that really works. This is something that really works. And when people start analyzing the behaviors of other people, they start realizing that it is actually that's the way I am deep inside inside myself. So when I start working on that, I just start becoming a new person, and that's very consciously work. When you do conscious work, and you realize that what Lacan is really saying is true, then you start making a lot of improvement in your life. And that's part of the agape love, about compassion. Because compassion is not saying, oh, I feel sorry about you, I'm gonna give you some money. No, that's not compassion. Compassion is not treating you as the victimizer and I'm the victim. I'm gonna break with that relationship, and I'm gonna understand through you that I have a problem, and that my problem has been stored in my memory, in my brain, in my cells, and that I'm able to take it out from me and make a new me out of it. So how do you find that? Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. Because you not only become self-aware, but then you also become aware of the other person's reactions, and you become more tolerant as well.
Yeah, so that's part of the compassion. Sometimes we talk about compassion, but some people think that compassion is, I don't know what compassion is for people in general.
But is compassion pity? A lot of people feel that compassion is pity, that it's not really love, but it's pity, and it's almost a sentiment that makes you feel uncomfortable. People are not comfortable with compassion most of the time.
Yeah, that's why people don't like to talk about compassion, and when they hear that you have to show compassion, they go like, I don't think I can do that. But when people understand compassion in a different way, as the way that I'm explaining, that you have to see people not as your victimizers, but as the mirrors of something that is inside you, right? Everything changes. You start getting freed from so many emotions, from so many burdens that you have. And actually, I use that in, I don't know, Carla, if you know that I've been teaching a workshop on emotional intelligence. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that.
Well, I just want to tell my listeners that I'm an academic. I'm doing my PhD too. But I also like everything about the brain. I like the brain. I like to know how the brain really works. And I've been researching about the brain. I've been researching about genetics. I've been researching about a lot of new stuff. Let's say new stuff, because actually this stuff was already known by ancient civilizations anyways. But I really want to learn how to be a better human, right? How to be a better person, how to make better decisions, how to be a successful man, right? And that's what I've been teaching to my students in that emotional intelligence workshop. And the first thing that you need to know is you have to know about yourself. You have to know how your brain works, how your cells work, how your body works, right? And I don't know, Carla, if you have heard of emotional intelligence before, or what do you know about that?
I have, and in fact, I try to work on it myself because, as you know, I am the kind of person that I don't know how to moderate my feelings. I don't know how to have a balance with my feelings. So therefore, I have done that whole victimization and being the victim or thinking people are hurting me when it's actually me, the one that has no emotional control. So I have not been putting my brain to work upon what of the feelings that I'm putting out there and how it's getting to the other person. So I end up suffering over it. So I have been working on it, and I have come to the conclusion in my own problems that I can moderate. I can give a little less, not because I don't care or because I don't love, but because I have to take care of myself, my brain, my heart, and I have to put it this way. I want to put my feelings more in my brain than in my heart so that I can dissect them instead of suffer about them.
Yeah, you're right. And this emotional intelligence is so important, and that's why I wanted to talk about the agapic love today. And there's a lot to say about it, but I just want our listeners to understand that we really need to start seeing other people as the mirrors of what is really inside of us. If inside of me I have, I don't know, let's say, like rage, fear, all those negative emotions, those need to be reflected in the outside world, and the people are the mirrors of that. So, and you know what, Carla, I think that's a good way to know yourself better, because if you have those stored emotions and you cannot, and you don't have a way to look at them as if you were watching a movie, because you're actually watching a movie, right? Yeah. Like when you sometimes you are there and you go like, what happens if I were in a world that it was made up, and this is actually like a stage, right? I know you're an actress, right?
Yes, sir.
Like, see the life as if you were the actor or the actress of this life, and the people are just showing things that are inside of yourselves. So it's like, wow. I don't know if you have seen this movie. I forgot the name of this movie. It was a guy that was born into this created world. Mm-hmm. And the moon wasn't the moon, but it was like the station, and there were cameras everywhere, and everybody he saw were actors, and he didn't know. The Truman Show.
Oh, the Truman Show. Yeah.
Well, that Truman Show actually is a very good movie because it's actually showing you what we're talking about today. That this life is kind of a made-up life, but we're gonna talk about that in another program.
Well, because you're just gonna confuse the listeners, because that one needs a bigger explanation.
Yes, but I just want, because we're running out of time, I just want listeners to start understanding that we have to stop being victims and we stop finding victimizers. And instead, we should try to look them as mirrors of what is happening within us. If we have negative stored emotions, they are going to be projected to those people. And that's the first step towards agape love. How's that?
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. By becoming aware of the other's reactions towards us and what we're putting out into the world, mostly what we're receiving from the world, that can give us big hints about what is happening to us and how we're acting to take that step into changing our behaviors.
And it's beautiful. And we're almost done. I just want you to know that if you're a Christian, this is what Jesus said: love your neighbor as yourself, and he used the word agape. So
Very
just for you
Ivan.
to reflect tonight. Okay, so thank you very much. And see you next Thursday at 7 Eastern Time. Thank you, Carla. It was a wonderful show. And remember that Cultural Interface is going to be here for you to answer all your questions. Okay, so Carla, see you next time.
Cultural Interface with Ivan Moreno. Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Cultural Interface presents discussions about the ways in which culture creates and transforms individual experiences, everyday life, social relations, and power. The topics we'll address: new questions and problems of today's world. Cultural Interface with Ivan Moreno, founder of Zion International University.